Hi, I'm Steve Beckmen, wine grower of Beckmen Vineyards. My family established Beckmen Vineyards back in 1994 when we purchased this beautiful small vineyard and winery that was established back in 1980. We dreamed of being in the wine business and being an all estate grown winery. One of the things that we loved about San Ynez and Santa Barbara County was the fact that it was relatively unknown as far as wine regions go. Our start was with some traditional varietals with Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay. And we knew early on that Chardonnay was certainly a grape that had been successful in Santa Barbara County. In our first couple of vintages, besides our estate-grown Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay that we produced, we started to experiment with a lot of different varieties. Rhone varieties, Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, in addition to some Italian varieties like Sangiovese and Nebbiolo. And it was pretty quick that we realized the success that we could have growing Rhone-style wines in this particular part of the San Ynez Valley, and that became our pursuit. We purchased another property in 1996, which is now what's called the Purísima Mountain Vineyard, and planted that primarily to those Rhone varietals, led by Syrah and Grenache. We learned early on that we wanted to make pure, natural wines that spoke of the place that we were farming them. Something that we did starting in about 2002 was convert all of our vineyards over to biodynamic farming. I like to think of ourselves as being smart, interventionalist winemakers. In the winery, we take those same philosophies and try to be as hands-off as possible. And what I mean by that is that we only step in when the wines are calling for us to step in and intervene. We have two main vineyard properties. The original vineyard, which we're standing on right now, which I'm standing on right now, what we call the Winery Estate Vineyard, which is now home to all of our Cabernet Sauvignon vines and all of our Cabernet Sauvignon production. In addition to Cabernet Sauvignon, we grow a little bit of Grenache and a little bit of Mourvedre. Over on this property in the Los Olivos area, Los Olivos district, it's a little warmer climate with a little different soil than what we have on Purísima Mountain. Thus, the difference in varieties that we grow from one property to the next. So again, primarily growing Cabernet Sauvignon at this estate property, whereas on Purísima Mountain, we grow primarily our Rhone-style wines led by Syrah. That also is part of a newly established appellation in Santa Barbara County called Ballard Canyon, where the focus is on Rhone varieties and particularly Syrah. What's really special about the Purísima Mountain property is not only the climate, it's a little bit cooler, as I said, from the property that we're standing on right now, but there's wonderful limestone soils out there, which are fairly unique soils in California to grow wine grapes, but they are fantastic soils to grow wine grapes on. We have 5 main wines that we sell throughout the country in distribution. 2 of them are Bordeaux varieties, Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Sauvignon, and the rest are all Rhone varieties and blends. The main workhouse wine for us is a wine called Cuvée Le Bec. It's a Rhone blend of Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, and Counoise. It's our largest production wine and a wine that's very broadly distributed throughout the country and the world. In addition to the Le Bec, we also grow some varietal Grenache and some varietal Syrah. Really the breakdown of that is the Cabernet Sauvignon wine is being sourced out of the Los Olivos area, slightly warmer, more gravelly soil, soils that lend themselves more towards Cabernet Sauvignon than they do towards other varieties. And we find some great success with our Cabernet Sauvignon grown in Los Olivos on this vineyard. These vines actually next to me are Cabernet Sauvignon vines that were planted about 12 years ago. The soil here is filled with rock and gravel. It drains exceptionally well, whereas the soil on Purísima is a little bit heavier with that limestone. We also have a lot of clay, which is not necessarily the best soil for Cabernet Sauvignon vines, but does incredibly well for our Syrah and Grenache and the other Rhone varieties and whites that we grow out on Purísima. The portfolio primarily consists of estate-grown wines. However, the 2 Bordeaux wines are now being blended with some non-estate or outside sourced fruit, all coming from this Los Olivos area, whereas our Cuvée Lebec, Syrah, and Grenache wines are primarily coming from Purísima Mountain and a blend of both Purísima Mountain and the estate winery here. So through the years, 20 plus years actually, of growing wine grapes throughout this part of the Santa Ynez Valley, we feel like we have a really great grasp of what's succeeding on our two different vineyard properties. So moving forward, what we'd like to do is to continue our evolution as wine growers and winemakers here in Santa Ynez, to better our product, to better understand the ground and the land that we farm. And we feel like we're on the right track. We have a pretty simple philosophy here at Beckmen, in that great wine comes from great grapes grown in great soil. Beckmen's a family-run winery with some heavy involvement still from myself, my father, and now my oldest brother. But we really couldn't run this place without the great help of our staff, including vineyard, winery workers in production, and also our sales and marketing people. It's important for us to have you all understand who we are as people, who we are philosophically, and what our aspirations are. If you're looking for any more information about anything concerning Beckmen Vineyards, things like biodynamics, winery philosophy, you can find all that on our website, beckmenvineyards.com. We're extremely proud of our products. We feel like we have great quality, incredible pricing, and a very bright future. Thank you for being part of the Beckmen family.